US President Joe Biden has warned about the danger of a second Trump presidency at a star-studded fundraiser in Los Angeles that was attended by the likes of George Clooney, Julia Roberts and the former President Barack Obama. Joining us live now, Curtin University's Dean of Global Futures, Joe Siracusa. Joe, good morning. So Joe Biden had to skip the Ukraine peace summit and sent Kamala Harris in his place. That fundraiser, though, it raised about $30 million US. So was that a success for him?
Good morning, Pete. Not really. I mean, there is a common belief that large amounts of money raised will change the voters' minds. I can assure you that $30 million raised in Hollywood isn't going to change your mind in the south side of Chicago or Memphis, Tennessee, or West Virginia or places like that. But Biden, of course, had to go. He has to pay homage to Hollywood. I mean, you know, unless George Clooney and Barack Obama are on the same stage to anoint you, I guess you don't count for anything. But look, President Biden also left the final day of the G7, and he didn't go to Lucerne for this so-called peace conference. Pete, I always get a kick out of these G7 and peace conferences. They're always held in resort towns, five-star hotels, and Michelin restaurants. They don't go to Hoboken, New Jersey, or any place like that. They always have a terrific time.
So back to this fundraiser, and we can see from the photograph George Clooney was there. Now, he recently gave the White House a serve after Joe Biden had criticised that decision by the International Criminal Court to go after Israel because Amal Clooney, his wife, was a part of that decision. I guess everything is all tickety-boo amongst all of the supporters of the Democrats.
Well, he's still very angry about that. His wife was actually part of the assessment that was leading to an indictment for Prime Minister Netanyahu. And so, but Clooney called him up and said, you know, you're giving the ICC a serve when my wife actually played a role there. Well, she did play a role, and you know, she's a very legitimate person. I mean, George Clooney, he's a lovely guy, a great actor. But you know, once these guys wade into politics, Pete, they look stupid. You know, it's like Wally Lewis running for prime minister. I mean, you know, Wally wouldn't do anything like that. I mean, people are too smart for that. But the Hollywood people, they want to use all the Walt Disney money.
Well, I mean, this is, yeah, but this is when the elites, the actors, you know, and in the past it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked because this is exactly, it plays into Donald Trump's hands. He says, you see, look, this is the system. This is a system that's against us, you know, and these elites, you know, they're not struggling in the cost of living crisis, so it kind of just sort of parlays into the Republican argument, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I saw one thing on one of the American shows this morning that in some areas, milk, bread, and butter have gone up 75% in the last 3 years. For most Americans, it's about inflation and the economy. So when you have these superstars on these incredibly obscene salaries, you know, if you can donate $30 million to Joe Biden, God knows you've got money to burn.
Yeah, no,
it's not going to go anywhere.
No, Donald Trump raising a fair bit too. I mean, I think a lot of that's being spent on his legal bills, but I think he's gaining a little more than that. Just before we go, I do want to ask you, Joe, just a question that I had on the weekend. Given that you've got a high percentage of Americans, this is the kind of election that they didn't really want. They don't want to vote for Joe Biden, or they don't want to vote for Donald Trump, a good portion of them anyway. So if there is a low voter turnout, who does that favour?
I think it favors President Trump. A lot of the Biden people are going to stay away because he's alienated a lot of the youth, some of the black and the brown vote, and a lot of the Islamic votes and things like that. I think it would favor Trump because his base is particularly energized. I mean, it's pretty hard to get up, you know, very early on that first Tuesday in November and get out the vote for Joe Biden. As you can see from your little package there, he had to be guided off the stage.
Well, by Obama.
By Obama. So, you know, in many ways, it's a very sad ending. But I'll tell you what, the president's got, there's still a lot of problems around. I mean, that war in Israel is about ready to be expanded into Lebanon with Hezbollah. And we got all kinds of problems with the Russians who aren't going to agree to anything. We got the Chinese who aren't going to agree to anything. We got real problems. And Joe Biden is in Hollywood raising money with the people who make money off of us on Walt Disney. So, you know, I tell you what, Americans have seen this story before. Hollywood does not turn the votes. But I'll tell you what, the White House cannot resist going to Hollywood and rubbing elbows with the movie stars.
And they love those photographs. Joe Siracusa, good to see you as always. We'll chat to you soon.